So welcome, mothers and others. Tonight we have a real treat. We're going to bring to you 3 more candidates who are running for the Senate district. So we're so excited to introduce our candidates to you tonight. Okay, so first up we have Prince Giadolor. We have Gwen Burud and Francine Ly. So Prince, you are running for Senate District 2. Prince is a Rockwell native and a businessman. He's also an apprentice to State Senator Roy West. His district is east-southeast of Dallas, and it stretches to Tyler. So Prince, you're listed on Ballotpedia as an entrepreneur, a businessman, a real estate developer, and the owner of Meds and Meals Community Living Services, New Era Training Center, and D&G Ranch. Can you tell us a little bit about these roles and what you have done as an owner and how this has prepared you for your role as state senator?
I didn't know all of that was on there. But essentially, the umbrella of it is that I am a serial entrepreneur. And all those businesses fall under the umbrella of the family enterprise that I run with my father. And we head up our family enterprises. We head up our family enterprises, and I have been blessed to have that opportunity and be able to graduate from the University of Dallas with my bachelor's in business and be able to have that positionality in my family. Because of this experience, it allowed me to start my political career early. And so I was able to, when I met Senator West, talk to him about how I don't have time to get into politics, and him tell me politics is business, business is politics. And I had the opportunity of first sitting on the Senate floor at the age of 23. I think being a serial entrepreneur and having my hand in a lot of spaces such as real estate, the agriculture, healthcare, education, I have a deep, nuanced understanding of those industries, and not only what's happening in the private sector, but how that is affecting the public sector, because it goes hand in hand when you are offering those services. And also, I have experience being an executive. You have to be an executive when you go down there in Austin and you're in the upper chamber, in my example. And so I think that experience as an executive really, really helps me.
That's great. That sounds wonderful, Prince. Thank you so much for that. Next up is Gwen Burud. Gwen Burud is running for Senate District 9. Gwen is a native of Fort Worth and is a public education teacher who works with children who are deaf or hard of hearing. She is passionate about public education being a great equalizer. Her district covers the northern half of Fort Worth. Welcome, Gwen. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate it.
Yes. So Gwen, you have been endorsed by the Texas ALF-CIO. And so what is your plan on building a stronger economy that works for protecting Texans?
Right. So one of the things is, being the fact that I am a public school teacher, the foundation of a strong economy is a well-educated citizenry. So we want to make sure that our public schools are strong, and right now they are under attack. As we speak right now in Keller, there is a school board meeting where they are looking at those list of banned books that were previously reviewed, then taken off the shelf again. So number one, strong public schools are the foundation, and I will fight for those. As far as my AFL-CIO endorsement, not only, and that's another thing, we just, here in Texas, we are a right to work state. So we really need to support our workers, our unions, that's, we need to support strong unions and have those worker protections. And one of the things that we need is, at the very least, a $15 an hour salary. And under union protection, that would definitely happen. So we need to expand our unions here in Texas.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Francine Ly, you are up next. Francine Ly, it comes from Senate District 12. Francine is a first-generation Asian American and a proud Texan who grew up in Dallas. She's worked at the Texas Ledge and is a certified court manager in the 134th District Court. Her district is northwest of Dallas-Fort Worth, and it covers Carrollton. Welcome, Francine. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Francine, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how being a first-generation American has framed your sense of public service?
Well, first, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share my view and my ideas with fellow mothers and others. As you said, I am a first-generation Asian American. Our family arrived in America with very little. We are refugee from Cambodia. And growing up here, I always say the struggles and losses that our family went through, had endured, it make us a better person. And that the fact that our community has welcomed us and allowed me to, thrive. Like when I came here, I was nearly 9. Actually, I was 9. I did not speak English, so our public school system was where I learned, my ABC. So I did not learn English until I was at least the age 9, and I'm very proud of our public education system. Like Gwen said, our workforce need to be educated. They are our future. Our youth are our future, and if we do not invest in them, we will be behind globally. Like we are getting there, and we're there. We're behind globally. We cannot compete with China right now. And I am a paralegal. I obtained my associate from Eastfield Community College, and then I finished my El Centro paralegal program. And then, of course, I got my bachelor degree from Purdue Global in legal study. I was in the legislature for 4 terms from 95 to 2001. So I do know the inner working. I do have the experience there. Being here in the court, and daily interaction with a variety of individual with different ideas, different needs, and we just work together to make sure that what they need is accomplished. And also, I'm a part of this nonprofit organization. It's APAPA, which is the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association, which is an organization that is 2 decades old, and what we do is focus on empowering, educating our youth so that they can lead us in the future. Also, I'm part of this National Asian American PAC, which I'm their election monitor chair, and we just make sure that anything that is negatively impacting Asian American, that we raise a flag and say, there's no need for this. Can we all just get along? So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you totally answered my question. So thank you so much. There was one thing that I wanted to just kind of add, that that you brought something up about how it's so important that we educate our future workers here in Texas. There was an article that I read very briefly this weekend, and it was talking about how in oil in West Texas, and particularly in the energy and the oil sector, that currently they cannot find people to work in that sector because they don't have the education or the qualifications to work there. And I just found that was so surprising. It was a little bit shocking to read that. I think that, that's probably why we have to get so many workers in from other states, because we're not educating our own workforce the way we need to be educating them. So I really, when you made that point a second ago, I totally get it. I read an article about it this weekend, and I thought that really just kind of stuck with me. So thank you for pointing that out. Yes, Gwen.
Might I add, you mentioned West Texas. Probably, if we all know that about a couple of West Texas billionaires are trying to demolish public education. So this could be a product of their own making.
Oh, it is definitely a product of their own making, without a doubt. 110%. So I agree with you all there. So Prince, you are up next. So Prince, on your campaign site, you list experience bringing Senate Bill 25 to the floor briefly. Explain Senate Bill 25 and how its passage helped the education system and saved over $100 million.
Yes, so working with Senator Royce West, during the 86th legislative session, we got the opportunity to craft and pass Senate Bill 25, which synchronizes our higher education system in creating transparency between the public university and the student at community college, in which credits will transfer per degree program. So, for example, a kid could take a slew of classes at the public community college, go to UT, for example, and UT could say, well, we'll take this credit and this credit, but we're not going to take this credit, not because it wouldn't apply, just because we just want you to pay the extra tuition. And so because of this, we were wasting a lot of taxpayer dollars. And so with the passage of this bill, we're able to save that money in excess of $60 million a year. So thus far, we are approaching $200 million, but it was a great piece of legislation and a bright spot in Senator West's career, and it was an honor to work alongside him on that.
That's pretty amazing. We have an intern that works with us right now, and she is at ACC in community college and applying to different colleges. And so I'm seeing her kind of struggle to try to figure out what credits are going to be able to transfer to what colleges. So she's trying to maximize the amount of credits she will go into an, UT or St. Ed's or another college with a few more credits. She's trying to figure out which ones will accept what. So I think that's a really great program that you have there, because otherwise it's just more money that is being spent, but not really being used. So
yeah,
that could be really helpful to all of those students that are in community college, right? So it helps them out tremendously. So I could see that. That's a great program. So thank you for working on that with Senator West. So thank you. Okay, so Gwen, you're up next. So, okay, Gwen, let's talk about property taxes, because education property taxes, it all gets very confusing, and definitely educating people about property taxes and the impacts of property taxes on school finance is always a learning curve for everyone. So Texans pay some of the highest property taxes, yet we rank at the bottom half in terms of education. Can you tell us a little bit about your plan for school finance reform?
Yes. So yes, the funding formula is what I like to just call wonky. There's really no other way to describe that. Yeah. Basically, property taxes come in. I think of it like this big barrel, the funding formula. So your property taxes get put in the barrel, and the state goes ahead. There's a little bit of federal funding in there, and then the state kicks in its share. But that's after everything has been added. And then so the funding formula has decreased over the years. At one time, it was a 50-50 split. Now it's like 50-35. So we want to return to that, at least to that 50-50 split. So, and we can see relief on our property taxes. That is because by design, this is basically creating a problem with not taxpayers attacking their local ISDs, thinking it's their fault, but it's really the state not kicking in its fair share.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm sure you all have seen it in your area where you all live as well, is that a lot of Republicans are running on, we're going to cut your property taxes. And then they're running for positions where they have nothing to do with property taxes in their positions. So they're basically lying. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I think that that's kind of interesting. We really have an uphill battle to run there as far as like educating people on property taxes, how it works, which offices vote in for property taxes or have something to influence as far as property taxes, and which ones don't, because we're seeing a lot of people lying. That's for sure. So.
No.
No, really?
Yeah.
It's kind of like when Matt Krause ran for DA and he's talking about the border, and we're like, yeah, that's what,
yeah, exactly. Just like when people just don't understand what they're running for and what their actual office can actually do. It's so frustrating. So Francine, let's go to you next. You have worked at the Texas Ledge as an activist, and now you're working in the court system as a certified court manager. How did each of these inform your decision to run for office?
I was perfectly fine being an average everyday mom and citizen of Texas. What culminated to me actually running was the images, being a child refugee myself, the images of kids being caged like animals really really, you know, gave a gut punch. And then being a naturalized citizen, the events on January 6th really was devastating. So my experience, my qualification is there. I was just happy being a citizen, but I believe that it's time that we bring some common sense policy back to our state.
If I've seen one thing that has been a trend at almost every webinar that we've had for a while now, it's January the 6th. I mean, it was really the tipping point for a lot of reasons why people are running for office right now. So we are so happy that you all are here and that you're running and that you took this action in order to make really good change for democracy for all Texans. So thank all three of you guys. Thank you guys so much, because we need people like you guys running for office. We need good people running for office. So you all are very important to the solution right now that we have here in Texas. So thank you. So Prince, you are up next. You mentioned that your district needs more hospitals, broadband connectivity, and growth in small business communities. So what systemic issues are in your district that have brought you to view these issues as critical? And how do you plan to combat them if you are elected?
You know, I think the systemic issue that is at the fray here is when you have leaders who are prioritize their lobbyists and donors in Austin versus what is actually plaguing their particular district. In my particular district, you have areas like Kaufman County, even some parts of Dallas County like Garland, that are lacking hospitals. It is a known fact that Texas, especially in rural Texas, we have a severe hospital shortage. And so that is one thing that I will work tirelessly when I am in the Senate. And I believe I can get these things done or get that done by, first of all, helping people like Francine and Gwen get elected so I have the numbers to get my bills passed. But also by working with the public sector, the private sector, reaching across the aisle in a matter-of-fact way and say, we don't have hospitals in our rural communities, and most of Texas is rural, so we've got to do something about this. Broadband connectivity. there was funding allocated this past session for broadband connectivity, but my internet's still poor. I tell people I work in Rockwall County, which is the richest county in Texas, and I'm like, if internet's bad here, I don't want to know what it's like elsewhere. And so, you know, it comes down to having leaders that when that money is allocated, that they prioritize that particular community, sees that money and sees improvements over time. And so I want to sit down with the subject matter experts at hand and do what's necessary to improve the internet in my district, not only in Rockwall County, but the more rural counties like Kaufman County and Ellis County. And we're speaking to resources for small businesses. You know, I think that Republicans, a lot of times, not to talk bad about Republicans, but I think a lot of the time there's this notion that we want to apply more funding, more money to the problem. Resources don't necessarily have to be money. It could be marketing tools or tax relief, employee retention credits, help with maternity leave and sick leave, vacation time, things of that nature that can help our small things, that can help our small businesses continue to stay in our communities and grow and grow our respective communities.
Yeah, that's great. I fell down the rabbit hole of broadband a while ago because I was just curious about it. So the state of Texas was actually waiting for, they got some money for broadband from the COVID relief bill. Okay, so they got 500 million. With that 500 million, they funded a broadband department that is underneath the Texas State Comptroller. And so what they did is they formed a department, but they haven't actually, spent much of the money yet, or, spread it out or made a plan. All they did was create some relationships with AT&T. Then AT&T donated a lot of money to Greg Abbott, and all kind of under the table because of a lot of the stuff that was happening. And then what they did from there is they got money for broadband. They were waiting for the Biden infrastructure plan to pass. They were banking on it passing, because if it passed, that meant that they got more money for broadband and they could bring broadband throughout all of Texas. So Republicans are actually using this as a talking point for, oh, we got broadband. But all of that money, 100% of it came from the Biden campaign, and they're not allowed to own that talking point. We own that talking point. Democrats own that talking point. So it's really important that we let them know and we teach them like how we got the funding and how we're going to move forward with the funding for broadband, because all of that money is coming from the federal government and none of it is being really handled, or it didn't come from Texas. It didn't come from Abbott. He certainly didn't advocate for it. And if anything, he did send out a letter to the broadband department saying that if they decided to turn down any of any of Joe Biden's money, that it's up to them and their decision to turn down some of the Biden money if they so chose. So we might have that money, we might not have that money due to that letter that Greg Abbott sent out to all of the department heads, all underneath the Texas government. So it's kind of a crazy thing. Anyway, I fell down a rabbit hole. Just thought I should let you guys know, because we should own that talking point. We need to own it. We did this. The other side didn't. The Republicans didn't. So anyway, so thank you. I'm sorry for talking so much.
Thank you for that. You're completely right about it. Completely right.
Yeah. So I just kind of, I'm a very curious person. So I always go out there and investigate all these little things about an issue, because I wanted to know where the money was going. So anyway, that was the rabbit hole I fell down for 3 days. So next up is Gwen. So Senator Hancock, he's a real treat. He is your opponent, and he co-wrote the abortion ban. So how did that make you feel, and how did that affect the women in your district? And to know that their state senator co-wrote the legislation that took away one of their essential rights.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Kelly Hancock was one of the co-authors. We have really pushed that in not only our digital advertising, but also in as far as our messaging. I knock on a lot of doors because I'm a big believer in the ground game. And there are two questions that I get most often from females, and this could be Republicans or Democrats, believe it or not, or both. First of all, where are you at on your choice on reproductive rights? And I am pro-Roe, and I definitely let them know, but we're seeing a lot of Republicans, can I say pissed? Pissed off. Yeah, there's a stronger word, but yeah. So they are really ticked off about that. And the idea, I think the biggest thing that we think, speaking as a woman, and of course, talking for my other sisters, my sisters in this whole thing, we feel like we're vessels. That's basically what we are. The fact that we're hearing stories about women having to wait for a heartbeat to stop before they can get the essential health care that they need, when there's no possible way that child will live outside of the womb. This is what happens when we have people who know nothing about a woman goes through making decisions for us. And if you saw that heartbeat bill picture, they put their token women on the front there, and it's a bunch of men surrounding them. This has got to stop. We've got to be represented, and this is not a Democrat or Republican thing. This is a female thing. So we've really got to stand together. So yeah, but women are pissed. That's been pretty much the reaction. And also, I'd like to say, speaking of pissed women, we've just been endorsed by Wendy Davis. And we all know what a pioneer she is. So I am honored to have that endorsement.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really good.
Yes.
Francine, you're up next. So what are your top 3 priorities if you are elected for senator for District 12?
Following Gwen, women's right is fundamental. Also, gun reform. As I mentioned, I don't want to harp on it. As a child refugee coming from a war-torn country, I know we got rights, Second Amendment right, but we don't need weapons of war on our street. And as someone that has, did not learn English until the age of 9, being extremely proud of my being a graduate of our public education system. That'll be next. So those are my 3 priorities, and many other, but definitely those 3 are my priorities.
It's great. Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask you all a question. I'm going to give each of you guys like a couple minutes just to answer for each of these, and we'll just go through one at a time. We'll start with Prince and Gwen and then Francine. So here's the first question. So last February, every Texan found out just how critical our energy crisis is. People lost their lives due to the policies implemented under the Republicans' watch. What will you do as senator to fix our energy crisis and our grid? So Prince, it is your turn.
I think at this point it is necessary to create a committee for this. A committee for this very subject needs to be created. And we need to vet the entire ERCOT staff. And you know what? We need to sit down with the subject matter experts and devise a plan for what we need out of the grid in retrospect to how many citizens are living in Texas, the growth of Texas, the current stability of our grid, the use of the grid per citizen. I think that what hasn't been talked about, especially amongst our current leaders, is how we can use natural resources to help our grid and ease some of the power usage, the coal and natural gas usage. We can infuse solar into our grid. We can infuse windmill power into our grid. These are the types of things that will help us do this, when we can use renewable energy, and we can use strategic planning, long-term planning, a word that is not used in Austin right now, strategic planning and long-term planning, and sitting down with stakeholders, that not only being subject matter experts, but people like you all who are all listening to this call. So that's what we need to do.
Okay, Gwen, you're up next.
It's funny. I never considered myself an expert on the grid, and then all of a sudden, boy, do we know a lot about it now. Prince, totally agree about the committees, but we actually have to listen to them this time, because we had experts come in and tell us all about it and what we needed to do to fix the grid. We just didn't do it. I would like to note that Kelly Hancock, my opponent, he headed up the committee to fix the grid. So it's all fixed. He said so himself. So I don't know what y'all, I'm sure that's what, you know. And Prince also spoke about renewable energies. Right now, we are #1 in wind power. We are a leader in renewable energy, and we also can have clean energy jobs to where we make sure that we can expand that even further. I think in Texas we have this idea that, okay, oil and gas, we're leaders in that, but can't we actually be more innovative and actually expand that even further? There's a lot of work being done there. And then obviously, one of the things that we have to do, we have to stop being so individualistic. ERCOT failed us. If we could have connected to the national grid, we wouldn't have lost all of our power, and we wouldn't have had over 200 deaths that we know of as a result of the grid failure. And for a party that's pro-life, they sure don't care about fixing, making sure that the lights stay on. And I would also add that in 2011, we had a warning sign that our grid was going to fail, and they did nothing about it then, and they really didn't do anything about it now.
That is true.
Totally.
Francine.
Yeah, totally agree with Prince and Gwen. We need to stop this pay to play policy that's going on in Austin. That's all. That's why it failed. We had people telling us it's going to fail. It did not get done because they paid someone to tell them not to do it. That's just it.
Yeah. So what do you all think about the new person was hired to be in charge of ERCOT and his humongous salary?
He's not even a Texan, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, that is why I mentioned plan, and to specify, we need key performance indicators to hit, per year, and do tests on the grid. So we know that, hey, because of global warming, which the current leadership doesn't believe in global warming either, but hey, because of global warming, the winter, we're going to receive some temperatures that make you think we're in the North Pole instead of Texas. Is our grid strong enough for that? And that's why I say, strategically plan and hit performance indicators and things of those natures. Those are things I would do as a state senator, and I know I can get those things done. And so, but to all to get into office to get it done.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
So you guys are in North Texas, and North Texas had crazy weather today. So can you all give us an update of how crazy the weather was with you all? I'm in Austin. We had crazy weather too, and we had a little tiny bit of flooding, but not nearly as bad as what you all have experienced today. So how about if each of you all give us an update as to like how it's looking in your communities today?
And Clay Jenkins, our county commissioner, had to declare parts of Dallas County a disaster because it's flooded. Trinity's like, wow. Yeah.
Terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah. How about
We
you?
need the rain though. We do need the rain, but not all at once.
Not all at once, and
Yeah.
over a period of so many days, so it can actually soak in the ground, because
Right.
the ground is just so hard and dry. So it's, yeah, I totally get it. How about you, Gwen? How's it looking over there?
Yeah, so we had, that I think the best description of it was we had a summer's worth of rain in a day. And of course, that causes a lot of flooding in areas. We did not get hit as extensively as Dallas and here in the greater Fort Worth area, but yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Hey, well, Prince talked about, I love how you said global warming, Prince. Call it what it is, because this is how these weather patterns are happening.
Yep.
Yeah. So Prince, how is the weather over there by you today? Give us an update.
Yeah, so in Rockwall, in Kaufman, it did come down pretty hard. It came down pretty hard. And then, of course, in Dallas County, which I have part of Dallas County, we were issued a flood warning, a warning of life and death. And so it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And I would say that, to piggyback off what Gwen just said, it is global warming as far as when you have weather instances that are only supposed to happen or typically happen, according to our history, once in every 1,000 years, are happening, twice a month. And so I think that our weather and what we are doing, if we are doing something as humans in Texas, in the United States, in the world, that is negatively affecting our weather, that's something that we certainly have got to look into. We can't just accept for once in 1,000 year occurrences happening once a week and that be our new normal and we do nothing about it. We will surely face the consequences if that's the case.
Yes, I hear you there. So, okay, guys, we're going to pivot. Let's talk a little bit about we have like 15 minutes. So we're going to talk about a couple issues. One of them was, we're going to talk about your education platform, like some information, what your platform is for women's rights. I know that some of us talked about those issues already, and then LGBTQ rights and what your positioning is on that. And then last of all, we'll talk about really quickly about Uvalde and how people in your district are feeling, especially since Uvalde. So we'll do all those last three questions. So first, if each of you all can take like a minute and tell us a little bit about what your education platforms are, or you guys are really in the hotbed there in North Texas with the Christian nationalists taking over a lot of these school boards. So you're in the hotbed. I mean, you guys are seeing a critical race theory, which just is not taught in our schools, be used as a weapon across your school districts up there. And I just kind of want to get an idea as to like how it's looking and feeling in your school district and what your positions are on a lot of these things around education. So let's go ahead and we'll start with Francine first.
So you're right. The critical race theory is a non-issue, but yet the other side still harping on it. I just believe that we should teach history as it is, right or wrong. We have to learn from it to do better. Where there's no finger pointing, it's fact-based history. No one's here to judge anyone. It's just to educate our youth so that they can better protect themselves and their own future. Just like with what we've been just talking a minute ago about global warming. The history, the education is there, but no one took it seriously. So it's 30 years later, it's gotten worse, okay? We have to do better. We do not have another 30 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Gwen.
Yeah, so you're right. We are a hotbed here of Christian nationalism. And as we know, that was to the tune of over $300,000 being spent on local school board races. In Keller ISD, they flipped 3 of those seats for those extreme Christian nationalists. In Grapevine Colleyville, that's another, they're having a school board meeting tonight, making sure that that we don't teach history, like Francine was saying. I mean, these are things we can't teach the truth, and our teachers are scared about that. If we use the word equality, and I've had these conversations, I've been in the trenches. Oh gosh, I can't, if I use diversity or equality, will somebody come after me? But it is dangerous up here. And also now we have groups looking through teachers' Amazon wish list to make sure that they don't have books on the banned list. They're under attack. Granbury, that they're trying to reprimand a teacher for sponsoring an LGBTQ club. I mean, I don't even know what to say, but we have to combat it with the messaging. We have to be blunt. We don't need to be polite anymore. This is what it is, and we're going to call attention to it. And we need to make sure that our friends and neighbors speak up as well.
Amen. Did you all hear that? We don't have to be polite anymore. I mean, I don't know how to say this louder to the people in the back, especially those people who are candidates that are running for State Board of Education and School Board of Education roles, school board trustees. I mean, when they're running for these roles, if you think you're running as bipartisan, you're fooling yourself, because this is not the year that we run bipartisan. Okay. So everybody needs to decide what side you're on. You're either on the side of democracy or autocracy. Pick your side, but this is not the year that you run as a bipartisan. It's just not going to happen. So thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Prince, you're up next. What are you hearing about education? And give us an update on your education platform.
Yeah, so growing up, my favorite book was Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. And when I was reading that book about the censorship of books and a censored society, I was able to grow more appreciation being an American after reading that book. Like, thank God that I am in America and I won't have to worry about the government coming to take away my books. Well, now in 2022, because of the far-right Christian nationalist regime, that is what is happening. They are coming to take away our books, and we are bound to be not only scarred and traumatized as a society, but even less educated than our competitors around the world. And so we've got to make certain that we do everything in our power to get every Democrat elected from the top down to the bottom, because races are so important to keep from this from happening. And when you talk about the school board races, I don't think those are on the November 8th ballot, but we could at least have some power there in the state board of education and at the lieutenant governor's seat. and the governor's seat as well. But
Get the Attorney General.
The Attorney General, exactly. So we've got to get as many people as elected as we can, because that's exactly what's happening. Censorship, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. So, outside of combating that, which is my number one priority and all of our number one priorities, I want to maintain our public education system, make teachers comfortable. Teachers are leaving the profession of public school teacher faster than any profession in the country right now. We've got to make sure that our public school teachers are feel comfortable doing their jobs, and that they are being paid livable wages, and that they get that cost of living adjustment when they retire and they enter that teacher pension fund. Another thing that I want to do that I think will also continue to bring more jobs to Texas is, I think that a lot of the times it's pushed on our kids in our public school system to go to college. Well, college is not for everyone. The university, at first, not for everyone. I think that uplifting the junior college is something that I would love to do. I would even love to bring another junior college to my district. And I would love to get kids started earlier in their high school careers in professions they may want to pursue if they're not going to go to college, such as a HVAC professional or electrician or plumber. Jobs are making six figures. And so those are my ideals.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk really quick about Uvalde. So Uvalde happened, and since Uvalde happened, that was basically the end of May. That was like the last days of school. And since then, nothing has been done about gun violence and gun safety reforms in Texas. So what are you all sensing? What are you hearing from people in your district when it comes to gun sense? And how do you all feel? What is your positions on gun sense laws? So we'll start with Gwen.
Okay. Yes. So again, that was that number one and number two were reproductive rights as our abortion, as well as gun safety. Parents are scared to send their children to school, and our legislature has done nothing but increase access to guns. They make it easier to get a gun. We saw what happened in this last legislative session. Any idiot can carry a gun without a license. And the idea that you can get a weapon of war at 18, but you can't drink, you can't drive, you can't do all of these other things. You can't drink, you can't do all sorts of things, but you can get a weapon of war. Something as simple as raising that age to 21 for now at the bare minimum. Actually, I don't think weapons of war should be in anybody's hands who is not on the battlefield. So that's one thing. I'm really concerned because I know at the federal level, we finally got some gun legislation, but the alarm has already been sounded here. The red flag law won't happen here in Texas. And under Republican leadership, this is how it's going to stay. And it might even get worse. When you're wanting teachers to have, to be school marshals, and how are we amongst everything else that we have to do. This is the type of things that's happening under Republican control. And this is a good time to talk about finance reform. As they are in with the gun lobby. They're in the pockets, and they have to do what the gun lobby says. Otherwise, they might get primaried. So they have to be loose on guns, and that's essentially how it's going to be until we have campaign finance reform here. In Texas, I don't know if you know this, but anybody here can write me $1 million check. Feel free. But that means that our legislators are indebted to their big corporate donors, or their big donors like the NRA, or when we were talking about oil and gas. I mean, that's who they're indebted to. We really need to fix our financing. And then I think we see change really happening with these issues like gun control.
Okay, thank you. Francine.
Following what Gwen said, I'm a We the People candidate. I am not beholden to anybody. You are welcome to write me a huge check, but my constituents dictate what goes on in the legislature, because that's their house. As for guns, I've always said it's a weapon of war. We don't need it in our street. This is a civil society. And I know a lot of people out there have guns, former militant, that just cannot part way with it. We're not here to take that away. We're just asking, as a mother, we're just asking that you not allow kids who are not qualified to own to have access to it.
Yeah.
And that's all we're doing, okay? We're not trying to take your rights away.
Yeah. I know it's sometimes like talking to a brick wall. We just keep on repeating it. They just keep on not believing it. It just drives me crazy. It's like, have we taken away your rights in any other states that are run by Democrats? The answer is no. So it's not going to happen here either. So stop. Okay. So I thought maybe I kind of pivoted in the interview. I thought maybe we just end on women's rights, because I wanted to get Uvalde in. So I wanted to get that one in for sure. So Francine, can we just go over your policies on women's reproductive rights and what your policy is, what your positions are?
I am not a healthcare provider. I am not you. You are not me. I'm not going to tell you what your doctor needs to tell you. Your doctor will tell you what you need to do.
Yep. I love that. Thank you. All right, Prince, what is your position on women's health reforms? I mean, personal
I
rights.
didn't do my spiel about Uvalde, so should I come back or?
No. Did you not say, okay, do both actually? I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, let's talk about Uvalde. I'm so sorry.
So as far as women's rights, I believe that abortion is women's health care, and it's going to happen whether it's legal or illegal. And we've got to make sure that it is legal, so we can take care of our women. I think that women are fully capable of having the right to choose what's best for their bodies. And we should make their lives easier as women. And, I think that a lot of pushback that I hear from Republicans, probably the number one pushback is that abortion shouldn't be used as healthcare. I mean, abortion shouldn't be used as a contraceptive, so to speak. Well, I think that contraceptives, quite frankly, should be sold over the counter. Then you essentially eliminate that problem. So after that, if a woman is going to have an abortion, it's a serious issue. We have to treat it as such and make sure that all of our women have the healthcare they need. As far as what I've been hearing on the ground, and as far as what happened in Uvalde, as far as amongst moderate Republicans and independents, I think it has shooken them to the point where I think most people can agree to raise the limit to own an AR-15 to 21. And as state senator, I will work diligently to ensure that we can at least get that passed. And I think, amongst Democrats, we're scared. But I've been encouraging Democrats to curtail this fear into action, and that specific action being going to the polls and taking other souls with you to the polls so we can flip this election in November.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. So one at a time, if you all could just tell us like how, where we can find you, like what your website address is, where we can find you, where you need some support, and what some of our volunteers and members can do to help you out. So we'll start with Gwen.
Okay, first, can I talk a little bit
Oh
about?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
women's rights. I think I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm definitely very exhausted today. So please, I'm
No.
so sorry.
You were doing great. No, I just want to say I am unapologetically pro-choice. And if Republicans were really pro-life, they would make sure that, yes, we have access to contraception. And like, I love what Prince said, just get it over the counter. We would have comprehensive sex education in our classrooms to educate our kids on that. If we were so pro-life, we wouldn't be the #1 uninsured state in the nation now, would we? So if we don't have access, then there's the fact that we're also #1 in maternal mortality, and we are not doing anything about that. So all of this, so if the Republicans are so pro-life, then they would make decisions that are pro-life. So they're not, they're just pro-womb. So now we can go back. You said give information about our website, where to find us.
Yeah, where do we find you? Where would we go to support your all's campaigns?
Perfect. Yeah. So on my website, they're at burudfortexas.com. I think it's been put in the chat already. That will give you links to not only volunteering, you can sign up to volunteer. We also you can find us on Mobilize America. All of our block walks, all of our phone banks, text banks are set up there. So we really would like folks calling and knocking on doors for us. And then, and my Act Blue link is nicely set up there as well. So we would, our campaign, like Francine's, is entirely funded by the people. In fact, this last go round, we raised $152,000 during this last fund, the TEC filing, from 5,700 unique donors.
Amazing.
So yeah, that tells you that we're a people-powered campaign. My opponent raised $63,000 from about 40 donors. That tells you what type of campaign he's running. So there you go.
Yep. Awesome. All right, Francine.
Yes, like Gwen, yeah, my donor are definitely you guys, okay, the people. Whereas my opponent, you go up there and look, it's only a few corporation PACs and what have you. This is a people power campaign, like Gwen. I am at Team Fly, which is my first initial and last name, teamflyforsenate.com. Like Gwen, we have sign up sheet to volunteer, phone bank, texting, walking, and also my Act Blues on there. So we need you guys to help us.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Prince. Where can we find you? How can we help you?
Yes, please visit my website at princefortexassenate.com. It is in the chat. You can reach out to our campaign and let us know in any way how you would like to help, whether it's writing postcards, letters, or joining us on block walks. And also, you can donate on my website. Like I said, it's princefortexassenate.com. Every dollar counts, but we need your help. We need your help. We're just the face. It's people like you all that get us all elected. So please reach out and help us in any way that you can.
Great. Well, thank you all. I appreciate you all coming on and doing a webinar with us. In case you know or don't know already, we are endorsing all three of you. So that is why you actually made it onto the webinar to begin with. It's because we're going to endorse you all. And so part of our endorsement is doing a webinar with you guys. The next thing is that we hope to get you guys some support on the ground through some of our membership and some of our chapters. And then we're also, if we're able to, we will be supporting you in other ways as well. So pretty soon you'll be able to have point people to our website to download graphics that will be supporting your elections. So thank you all so much.